But the more I grow as a person, the more I grow apart from you. You will be perfect for someone, but it won't be me.
It worries me that on the outside, you'll prove them right and you'll get too comfortable enjoying your hobbies.
Am I the only one who's questioning why we have to wait for Peggy's decision till tomorrow? Can they just tell us it's a no? I would rather it be a no than anything else. I know Arthur will be heartbroken, but long term, he's better off without Peggy and her stuck-up family. Laura, it's a pity she wasn't after a husband. She was after, her friend's idea of a husband, because had she been after a husband, Arthur is not perfect, but at least he's tried to put in the work. Yes, at times he says inappropriate things, but I think he would have been the best for her because he brought out some of her best qualities. Jordan and Erica, I don't know. Anyway, I digress. Hey there. Thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. We're almost there. Let's keep going and let's reach 1,000 subs by the end of the year. Click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight UK, Season 8, Episode 33. So it seems in this episode we're going to have, a final commitment ceremony for only 3 couples. And we have Peggy and George, Arthur and Laura, and Erica and Jordan. If I were to put my money down, I would assume that maybe Erica and Jordan are the only one that are going to say yes. Anyway, you have the couple sort of packing their stuff and leaving their apartment. Obviously, one of the partners has to leave. With Laura and Arthur, oh my God, here we go again about, the issue of what he said at the dinner table. And she's saying she doesn't understand why he behaved that way. I would have asked him, why is it you felt the need to make the comments that you made, and sort of hear him out as to why he felt that was necessary. She acknowledged that, yes, he wasn't looking at her when you were saying whatever he was saying, but why was he saying it? What was the motivation behind it? I think if Laura just stopped and asked questions like why to Arthur, she would have learnt a lot more about her husband. Just every time he says something, she would ask him, why did you say that? And she would have learnt a lot more than she would have had she made assumptions, because I think that's the main problem with their relationship, in the sense that Laura thinks that she's more educated, she's more intelligent, she's more knowledgeable than Arthur. So whatever he does that doesn't meet up to her expectations, she just brushes it off and just says, oh, that's nothing, that's Arthur being Arthur. Instead of asking her, why did you say that? Why did you do that? She'd learn more about her husband, and I think they would be in a better place. So Arthur's the one who's staying in the apartment, Laura's the one who's leaving. And then you have Jordan and Erica. Jordan and Erica, for me, are a tricky one. We can see Jordan's obsessive-compulsive behavior clearly now as the episodes have progressed, in the sense that he has become so attached to Erica that I don't think he can imagine his life back to what it was before the experiment. And this is why I said this was maybe not the right environment for him, or else they should have had someone who specializes in OCD available to sort of help him cope throughout the experiment. Because now he's struggling, he's actually crying because he doesn't know how he can live his life without waking up with Erica and going to bed with Erica. And it's like, what if she says no? What's going to happen to him? He's going to have a breakdown then. He's going to need more sort of mental health input than he needed before he came into the experiment. I don't think it was a healthy environment for him. He was fortunate that Erica sort of presented as her best self, because the Erica that presented at the wedding is totally different to the Erica that was in the experiment. So I'm grateful for that. And so Jordan stays and Erica leaves, and Jordan is heartbroken by that, and which is sad, really. It's sad. And then we have Peggy and George. I'm going to say this. I'm going to repeat this. I said this before. Peggy's only with George because I think George has money. That's my opinion. If she says yes, that's because George has money. Because there's no reason for her to continue to tell us that her parents and her family do not approve of George, and she still wants to go along with George. She wanted to leave George at one point, got to his house, saw his house, realized that, oh, this is comfortable. And then suddenly she started singing a different tune. It wasn't about her not liking George. It was now her family don't like George. So she wanted to pass the blame. She likes George. She wants to stay with George, but her family don't approve. So so that if anything happens, she is going to put the blame on her family. And it's like, you're close to 30. Why would your family have any say on who you marry? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. And the fact that her parents are, are you going to be able to provide Peggy the life she's accustomed to? And it's like, if you think that George is not good enough for Peggy, she's welcome to stay at home. She's stayed at home all these years. She's welcome to continue staying at home. You don't need to marry her off to anyone else. Thank you. Or, yeah, that's it, really. You don't need to marry her off to anyone else. And for George to get her a flower and for her, I think she likes the things that George does for her. But I don't think she likes George the man. This is my opinion. Because she has not done or said anything to sort of help change the perception of George with her family. Every time she brought up the rimming incident, she brought up the gaming incident, she brought up the baguette. So she has always said these negative things to make sure that her family don't like this man. So she cannot suddenly blame them because they are going by what she's told them. If she had gone to them and said, I love this man, he's loving, he's caring, he's compassionate, he buys me presents, he's very romantic, he does this, her family would have a different picture. But she has set the tone for how her family feel about George, so she needs to sit down somewhere. So first up is Laura meeting up with her friend and Arthur meeting up with his friend. I liked Arthur's conversation with his friend. It seemed more productive because the friend wanted to find out what was going on, where are you, and sort of what are the positives, what are the negatives, what do you think, so that he can provide Arthur with his own opinion. And I loved that. But then for Laura to bring one of her dumb and dumbers, I don't get it. I really don't. Because those girls have nothing positive to say about Arthur, because their last interaction with Arthur was not the best. So the idea that they would be able to give her any sound advice, for her to say Arthur is a project, I don't get it. Laura is a project herself. They're both projects. They're still both work in progress. And so to think just because Arthur might seem like he has more faults and so Laura is the better part in that relationship, I don't get it. I really don't. And I wish Laura should have been better off speaking to the experts than she was speaking to her friends, because I don't think her friends had anything positive or anything productive to give her in regards her marriage to Arthur. It's interesting hearing Jordan speak to his mom and Erica speaking to her friend, because with Jordan, we can all see that Jordan has become so dependent on Erica. I think it was evident when he shouted that I don't want to share you with anybody else. And so I think his mental health is dependent on her being around him, and that's the only way he's sort of able to function rationally. And so hearing him speak to his mom and telling her that he wants to move up north, you can see the alarm bells going off in his mom's head, because it's like, how are you prepared to move in with someone you've barely known for 6 weeks and you packing up your life and saying you want to go and live with them to make sure everything works? That's not fair. And Erica's friend is also right to say that's not fair, because when he moves to Edinburgh, the only person he'll know there is Erica, which means he'll need to be around Erica most of the time. And Erica will have to put her life on hold until he's comfortable. I don't think that's the right choice for them. I think he needs to go and see a psychiatrist, a mental health practitioner, someone to sort of help him manage his OCD first, or come up with tools on how to manage his OCD and sort of manage his symptoms, especially when he realizes that he's becoming so obsessive with something and he's so stuck in a situation and he can't pull himself out. I think that's what he needs at this point. He doesn't need to move to Edinburgh, but that's just my opinion. So first up at Final Vows is Arthur and Laura. And for me, hearing Arthur speak is really heartbreaking, because he's talking about the fact that he's worried that Laura's friends might have changed her mind. So which tells me that they must have agreed that they would stay together. And then when she spoke to her friends, I think the other one refused to be filmed on camera and must have had a conversation with Laura off camera. And I think they both said no. And it's a pity that Laura would listen to her friends than she would to her heart, because at the end of the day, her friends have never liked this man and they've made it known that they don't like him. And because he's not the Chelsea type, he doesn't have the pedigree that they expect. So I don't know why she would want to listen to them. I did not like Laura's vows at all, because she would give him a compliment and then she'd go, however, and then give him a slap. Well, that's an analogy. She didn't physically, give him a slap, but it was sort of a slap in the face that every compliment she gave him, she had to say something negative. And for her to say she's given him a lot and he hasn't given her anything is the joke of the century, because he has made her the best version of herself. She's become more empathetic. She's become more sort of considerate of other people's feelings. She was able to sort of remove her shield and sort of be, how can I describe this? Because I feel like he brought out the sort of the emotional side of her, and for her to want to go back to be the statue that she was, the mannequin with her friends, doesn't make any sense. I said this in my last review and I'll say it again. If her friends had her best interests at heart and they knew she had a terrible marriage last time, why have they not found her the ideal partner? Why are they still there giving commentary on Arthur? Arthur is not amazing, but at least he's willing to change. He wasn't disrespectful at once. Okay, he bought his vows off the internet. Some of his comments were inappropriate. I always think that some of his conversations, he was trying to sort of convert his native language into English and it didn't translate well, but I don't think he meant any harm in anything that he did. He was a totally different husband to how some of the other husbands behaved, and I don't feel there was any need for her to be that disrespectful and to storm off. You could see he was broken, because I feel like before she went home they had an agreement that they were going to say yes, and so he was blindsided by her saying no, because he even said to the producer, I have nothing else to say, which tells me that this came out of left field. This is not something he expected, and he was at a loss for words. I feel sorry for him, really. I called it. Anyway, so next up is Jordan and Erica, and for me, I was nervous. I have been nervous. I have made my concerns known. The fact that, Jordan and his OCD, I was worried as to how he would be able to function in a relationship with someone, especially if he was going to make the move. And so it was nice to hear him repeat his vows and sort of say that he is willing to make the changes needed in order for his relationship to work. And we all know he's already offered to move up north to be with Erica until they make a decision of where they want to settle. So if nothing else, I hope he gets the support and help he needs, because he will need help to adjust to a new environment. Yes, he's a personal trainer, so he can go anywhere there is a gym, or whether there's a fitness facility for him to sort of get clients and sort of do whatever he does. So hearing his vows was amazing. And then when Erica started with the negative, I was like, oh my God, even Jordan looked like he wanted to cry because he didn't know where it was going. But for her to say yes and she wants to try to give it a shot, I'm rooting for love. I always root for love, so I'm happy for them. And I really hope they work, but I really hope, because he said Erica makes him want to be the best version of himself. And I hope that involves him getting counseling, getting support, getting a plan in place on how to deal with his OCD. And I think the moment he can tackle that beast that is OCD, they will be amazing as a couple. But if he doesn't do anything about that, I am worried about the long-term effects on their relationship. But anyway, I digress. So lastly is George and Peggy. And for me, the more her mother and sister talk, the more furious I get, in the sense that the way they come across as patronizing, belittling, as better than, the fact that her mom calls George just a lad because he's someone in his 20s who's not yet got this massive house in Kent and is living this lifestyle that she's living. I wish somebody had asked Peggy's mom, what was your husband doing when you married him? What job did he have? Did he have as much money as he had when he retired? Make it make sense. I hate the way her mother comes across. I hate the way her sister comes across. Her mother is even worse. And I don't know why George would want to stay married to that person, because how will his children feel? Because Peggy says she wants children. How will the children feel when they hear the negative things grandma was saying about their dad? Make it make sense. And so for them to think that she is better than George, oh my God, I don't get it. And she hasn't said anything, as I've said before, to sort of convince them otherwise, or anything to sort of sway their sort of vision or idea of who George is. So I don't know. George, he says, you know, he's grown, he's become the best version of himself, he's more considerate and more compassionate since, you know, being with Peggy, and that's good for him. He'll make an amazing husband for his next, you know, wife, but I don't think Peggy's it for him. I think he needs to keep looking. Peggy's not it. If he stays married to her, it's only going to be for a little while before they get divorced, because she's always going to tell him that she sacrificed the relationship with the family for him. If I look at Peggy and George, I know they've said their final vows and we have to wait for Peggy's decision till tomorrow. Why? I do not know. I don't know anyone who's on pins and needles to find out whether she said yes or no. I would rather she said no and save this poor man. I think she's been good for him in the sense that he's learned to sort of censor himself. He's learned to sort of think of others before he thinks of himself. I think he's learned to care for other people. So this is good for him. And he's learned, hopefully, that, you know, he should always prioritize himself irregardless and do what makes him happy and not try and change himself just in order to please someone, because that's all he's ever tried to do with Peggy. He's tried to be the best version of himself and it hasn't worked. So hopefully he changes because he wants to change and not because he's trying to impress someone and they're stuck up family. I'm sorry. Do I even care? I think she's going to say no, and I hope she says no. I don't think he needs the hassle of putting up with Peggy any longer than he has. But anyway, I digress. Thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 32. Bye guys.